Wait, why did I call myself a dork in this episode? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I remember. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Neutral Ground Podcast guest clip. On August 8th, 2021, I got to sit down with Josh and Seamus of the WWSD podcast. Now, I got to give these guys a lot of credit. I really went into the weeds here, and they came out the other end, ready for some more. I had an absolute blast. We talked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We talked about the effects of postmodernism. And we also talked about why the DCEU can't seem to get out of its own way. We had really a great time together, and yes, I do call myself a dork in this particular clip. That alone is probably worth the price of admission. Enjoy. Why were people crying? Think about that reaction that people were having. Think about the reaction that people were having when Steve Rogers is holding Mjolnir, right? Thor's hammer. And people are bawling at that. And do you know why they're bawling? Because Thor's hammer gave us truth about something we already knew, that Steve Rogers was worthy. And that's really why we were like crying for ourselves.
I cried when Vision picked it up too.
Freaking Vision. Actually, yeah. No, I love Vision. Actually, Vision was my favorite part of WandaVision, was just Vision. I was all about Vision. I love Vision.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, he definitely made the show for me.
Yeah.
What they did that was so smart to just bring it all together is they said, I think this postmodern complexity thing, the skepticism of postmodernism, I think it's done. We need to create heroes that are not complex and that have grand narratives and that believe in right versus wrong, good versus evil in a very simple way. And we ate it up. I'm talking about the person who never read a comic before, ate it up, because that's what we were craving in the wake of postmodernism.
Who do you think is the simplest hero in comics that you've seen?
You got to love the Captain America story. You have to, right? Because everything that he did, everything they did to build that up. Think about the most complex that he gets is in, the Winter Soldier storyline, right? Where on the surface, it seems like he's going to go against the big bad postmodern infrastructure, right? And he's going to, but then by the end you realize, no. The truth was believing in Bucky. It was because he believed in simple things like right and wrong that he was able to see through the complexity of Bucky's, the brainwashing and everything like that, and say, I know him, and therefore I know he's good, and I'm going to put myself out there for that reason. I'm going to put my own neck on the line. That entire Civil War storyline, if you break it down, this Tony Stark versus Steve Rogers thing was all postmodernism of Tony Stark, who in that moment was having a kind of crisis, a conscious, crisis, where he says, what? I'm skeptical all of a sudden of us, of our ability to define what is right and wrong. And therefore, I think we should put our trust in infrastructures that say what we should and shouldn't do, to share responsibility, because postmodernism, again, is skeptical of any kind of grand narrative that tries to say, this is right, this is wrong. And there's Steve Rogers, who's like, nope, I don't care. I believe in us. I believe in our ability to look at a situation and do the best that we can with it. May not be right, but we're always going to choose good, the good that we see. And that's the conversation that he has with Wanda as well, when he tells her, listen, bad things happen in Sokovia, and we have to own it, but we also have to realize that every time we make a choice, something bad can happen. And that is not a postmodern conversation. That is we made our decision, we believed in it, We got to own it. And so at the end, I give Marvel, as I was in the movie theater, I'm sitting there because I'm such a dork watching this as both professor and 7-year-old at the same time. I'm like, Captain America. And that the professor in me is like, wow, this is fascinating. I'm sitting there going, they're actually having this conversation of postmodernism versus neomodernism. And I thought, okay, are they going to pull a cop out here? And is Marvel going to say, they're both right? They're both right. It's, whatever. And they didn't. And I thought, brilliant. That is brilliant. They let neo-modern Captain America win. And they said, you got to trust the hero. Now, if you'd like to hear the full episode, go ahead and head on over to the WWSD podcast. You can use the links in the video notes below to get there. But before you go, see, I'm learning. Before you go ahead and hit the subscribe button for this channel. I'm really working hard to build up a community of thinkers who want to have meaningful conversations without the extreme noise. And consider following me on the Neutral Ground podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, whichever one. Have a great rest of your day.